Alright, you guys, we are ready to start drawing this floor plan. So what I did is I opened up a brand new drawing. I am currently working in the ID template. If you do not have the ID template, it's okay. Just start a new drawing. The first thing that you always want to do is check your units. So type units, and this window pops up. Make sure it's set to architectural. Now I have the ID template, so it automatically is set to architectural, so I can just hit OK. And now we're ready to start actually drawing the model in model space. So I'm always going to start by selecting the correct layer. And our building is going to be 31 feet by 37 feet. So I'm going to start the line command. I always start my drawing somewhat close to this XY coordinate system right here. And I go up 31 feet. And of course it goes off of my page, so I'm just going to zoom out with my center wheel on the mouse, or the third wheel as I like to call it, and over 37 feet. So remember, always put that apostrophe for feet, 31 apostrophe, and over. So what I just drew was the interior portion of the exterior walls. So now I want to show the thickness of the exterior walls by offsetting these lines 8 inches. So offset command says specify your offset distance. I can just type 8 because a number without anything signifies inches when we're in architectural units. Hit enter, select the object to offset, and now select the side. So I definitely want to go to the outside. Outside, outside, and outside. Now I have gaps on my corners, so what I need to do is hit the fillet command, and I'm going to type R for radius just to double check and make sure that my radius is set to 0, which it is. So hit enter and select your first object and select the second, and you'll see that that gap closes. Hit the space bar to repeat that command. So space, click and click, space, click, click, space, click, click. Whoop, there we go. And there are my exterior walls. Alright, the next thing that I need to do is add the interior walls. So I'm now showing you the dimension plans that we need in order to put the interior walls in correctly. So if you are looking at this at home, go ahead and take a screenshot, use a snip tool, pause the video, do what you need to do to get these dimensions saved to your computer so that you have it to reference while we're going through this. Now I think the important thing to notice on this dimension plan is that the dimensions are only dimensioning one side of the walls. And I do this on purpose because when the contractor and the construction workers are on the job site, what they tend to do is mark one side of where the walls should be installed, so that then they can place a 2x4 or their metal beams according to that line. So I don't do a whole lot of measurements, like I don't measure the thickness of the wall. I choose a side of the wall to measure, and I keep that consistent throughout. So really watch where your dimension extension lines and those tick marks are located to help you understand how to read the dimensions. So I'm actually going to work from right to left on this. So at the very top right hand corner, you see that we have a very small wall, and it is 10 foot from the corner to the left side of the wall. So to put this in, there's one of two ways that you can go about doing this. I'm going to start the line command. I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit. And with that command started, I hover, but I don't click. And then I slowly move my cursor over to the left so I get that extension. I'm going to type 10 feet, so 10 apostrophe, hit enter, and that is where the line actually starts. Now this wall in particular is 2 foot 2 inches down. So I'm going to go 2 foot 2 inches down, and of course every wall for the moment is going to be 5 inches thick. So we're going to come over here 5 inches and up. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to trim these out, but I want to do it when all of the walls are put in so that I can do it a little bit faster. So don't worry about this, but remember that we do want to show that our walls are connected, and anytime that you see a line, it means that there's a difference in height of the wall. So if there's not a difference in height, then you should connect the walls together. Alright, so we got our first wall in. The next one is to the left 12 foot 5 inches. So I'm going to show you the other technique that I do, which is to just draw a temporary construction line. That's what I call it. 12 foot 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily, well, actually I can go all the way through, because if you look at the floor plan, this wall actually does go all the way through. We just have a little break in it. So there is that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to delete it because it was just there to help guide me. Offset 5 inches. And there is this wall. Let's put that little break that's supposed to go right in here. And that's down 13 foot 2 inches. So again, take my line command, hover, extend 13 foot 2. That particular opening is 4 foot 8, so I am going to offset 4 foot 8, enter. And I am going to go ahead and trim that just because I don't want to forget that that one in particular is going to be open. Awesome, we are moving right along, you guys. Isn't this fun and exciting? Well, now that I know that this is placed, and when I look at the floor plan, I can see that this actually comes right over. So sometimes when you're doing floor plans, it's really good to see what walls are aligning with what. So because we have this opening and this wall actually starts at the opening, that's how I'm going to treat that. So again, offset 5 inches. And I'll come back and trim that up. So there's that wall already placed. Now if I look at my plan, this line can be offset up here 11 foot and 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Offset 11 foot 10 inches. Make sure you're looking at the correct line. Where are those dimensions actually being placed? What are they actually measuring? And then offset 5 inches. And click, and we're going above. So there we go. So now I have that wall placed. Now I'm just looking at installing these two walls that are going right in here, and it looks like the first one is about 6 foot 9 inches from the exterior wall. So this is one that I'm just going to hover and extend. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. You just do what you feel right in the moment. Offset 5 inches to the right. And it looks like this particular line gets offset 3 foot 5 inches. So offset 3 foot 5 inches. So I guess there's 3 ways to actually put in walls. You can extend, you can draw a temporary construction line, or you can offset walls. Offset 5 inches to the right. Beautiful. And then it looks like the wall that goes right in here is about 6 foot 9 from this wall. So I'm gonna grab a line command, I'm gonna drag it down to extend 6 foot 9, enter. Here we go, and offset it. Again, watch where your dimension lines are going. So we're actually going to go 5 inches and up. So I'm just letting you guys see that that is all there was to doing the interior walls of this assignment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the trim button, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure that my spiders who live in these walls can flow freely through all of these little tributaries. That's what I like to call it. This is just a good habit to get into. Again, if there's lines in between walls, it signifies that the walls are different heights. And in theory, ours is not. So there we go. The spiders are roaming free. They can get to any wall that they want to. We're good to go. All right, step 4, we are already there, and this is where we actually install all the doors. Now, I'm a big proponent for ADA and making sure that wheelchairs can get through all the doors. So I always do 3-foot doors in everything that I design. It is up to you to decide if maybe a closet needs to have something a little smaller, you can, but this is my plan. And you know what? I realized that I missed a little wall right here. So let's put that little guy in. So he is over 5'4". And what I'm going to do is I am going to just go ahead and make a full wall because I know the size of the opening. I don't necessarily know the size of the wall itself. So I do know that the opening here is 3'5". So I'm just going to take my line, hover, extend 3'5". And over. And then I can just take this. I could trim it if I wanted to, but sometimes I just do this with my lines, and there we go. And let's make sure that we trim that so the spiders can get in the shower. Yay! Alright, now we're on to the doors. So let's start with the shower door. So this one's a little bit different. This is kind of like a barn door setup. So I'm going to make sure that I am drawing in a door, and all I'm going to do is just draw a simple rectangle to kind of show this. Now if the opening is about 3'5", I want to make sure that the door overlaps. I don't want it to have any potential for a gap for water to come out. So I'm going to draw a door that is 3'6" long, but I'm also going to show the thickness, and most doors that I draw have a 2-inch thickness. I'm going to start with the rectangle, and then I of course start the rectangle, but then I type D for dimensions, and then it is 3'6", enter, and 2, enter, and you'll see that I get the rectangle. Now I should have probably drawn 2 inches first and 3'6", but that's okay. I can rotate this, so I'm going to grab the object, rotate command, pick a corner, any corner, and I'm just going to make sure that it goes in that direction. Now I'm going to move it over, and I can attach it here, but like I said, I wanted to make sure it overlapped. And what I usually do is I show these partially open. So I can move it up, and sometimes I like to show it where there's a small gap. You don't have to, but sometimes it's really helpful when things are black and white so that you can see the door is supposed to be something that slides. So I'm just going to move it over 0.5 inches. And then you see a very small gap, and that's okay because it kind of indicates that this slides. The other thing that you should do when you have a sliding door is you should put a line indicating that this can slide. And so what I usually do is I just kind of randomly do this, and I make it look like a little arrow. And I want to make sure that I am being consistent, so I'm going to mirror that. And there it kind of indicates that this can slide. And actually I'm going to mirror both sides because it does look a little funky. No, I do not want to erase the source object. Let's do this one too. I probably should have done them at the same time, but that's okay. See? There's no right way, there's no wrong way. So this little arrow, again, it just signifies that this door slides, and I'm going to give it a little social distancing. Not too far, but not too close either. Something about right there. And now you can see that this door is meant to slide. Alright, well let's put in this door because this is going to be our bathroom. So remember that all doors are either going to be centered or 4 to 6 inches from the corner. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back to a wall. I'm going to use my line command. I'm going to do 4 inches. So I'm going to hover, I move over 4 inches, and that is where the door is going to start. If the door is 3 feet, then the opening should be 3 feet. Pretty simple. Offset 3 feet. Boom and boom. Escape. Now I can trim this out. So I have just cut a hole in this wall that my door can go into. So I can take this door. I can either copy it or move it. I'm just going to move it to right here. Now remember that the door should always go on the side of the wall that it swings. So this corner meets this corner. Do not install your doors like this. Do not install your doors like this, okay? That is incorrect. And if you look at any of your doors in your house or your work, you will understand what I'm saying. So we're going to move it back to the same side that it swings, and then you always want to make sure that it is set to 3 feet, which mine already is. So it should match very nicely right here in this corner. Cool. So there's a door. Now if you don't have a door, go ahead and draw a door, but don't draw a door every single time. Just take the same door and copy it and rotate it as you need to, okay? Alright, so let's do the same thing down here. The door is 4 inches from this corner because this door goes in. So line, hover, 4 inches. You got to think from the inside of the room, like whatever side that door swings, that's how you know it's 4 to 6 inches. You also got to kind of clear this wall because of what happens in this corner. And again, I'm going to get into like how walls are put together and framing and all that kind of stuff in a future video. Alright, so here's this offset 3 feet because I like 3 feet doors in my house. Just for wheelchair purposes, it's always good to consider ADA and wheelchairs. Trim. Here we go, here we go. And then the closet also gets a 3-foot door. So here, and it swings over here, so 3 feet. Oops, not 3 feet, 4 inches. Haha, silly me. There we go. So stay consistent. That is the best advice I can give you. If you start with 4 inches, stay with 4 inches. Trim it out. Beautiful. Oh, and my spiders can get through there. That's not cool. There we go. Live free, spiders, live free. See, it's okay to make adjustments as you go through because you can't always catch everything. Alright, so we have our door opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this door, I'm going to copy it. And again, I have to put it on the side that it swings. So I can do this and flip it. There we go. Door installed. Again, copy, and I always take it from the corner that I know it's going to attach to the wall. And it's actually going to attach here. But I'm going to flip the door so it goes right into position. So boom, and oh, it didn't. So I can just move it. It's cool. And boom. There we go. Right there, ladies and gents. Oh wait, actually, it is the other side. Haha. Pay attention to your plans, frogs, dogs, and logs. There we go. And this is a main egress door to get to the exit. So this one is not because people don't generally hang out in their closet all day long. So I'm going to show this one closed. Now this is just something I do. You don't have to. Some instructors might want you to keep all doors open, but I just like to point out which ones are the main egress doors. What's interesting about this particular floor plan is that we have a door opening right here. So I'm going to switch back and make sure I'm on a door layer. And I'm going to just draw 2 lines. But on our plan, if you notice, these are actually dashed. And did I get that straight? I don't know if I got that straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and move it over, and now I know it's straight. To dash these lines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to properties, and this is where I can override what's happening in the layer properties. I usually override only in special circumstances where it's like a one-time thing that I'm doing it. So this is a one-time thing on my floor plan, so I'm going to grab those 2 lines, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to choose dashed times 2. Now you'll notice that those dashes came in super tiny. Look how cute they are. When I go to print this, it might look like a solid line because those dashes are so close together. So I have to change the line type scale. To do that, I grab the lines, I right click, and I go to Properties. And in the Properties panel that pops up, here's line type scale, and I can change that. Let's try 8. I always start with 8 just to see what it does. And that looks gorgeous. So they're nice and spaced, they're large and in charge, and I know when it prints, it's going to show those. Alright, so we've got that one in, and then I believe the last door that we have is the entrance. So what architects tend to like to do is center things. So actually, I know I didn't really put information about this in the picture that I showed you guys, but this door right here is centered according to this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a line and I'm going to temporarily draw it out here. So that's the center of the door. So if my door is 3 feet, it means that I need to change back to a wall. This happens a lot. Hover my mouse and I'm going to draw up 1'6". And if I want to, I can mirror that because I have a really great center line right here, right there. I can delete this line now, and that door is centered on here, and trim. And now I take a door, doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to come over here, place it where the hinge is going to be, and then I can rotate this right into place. Beautiful. Alright, the last 2 doors that we have to put in are these little double doors that go here. So I was going to show you guys how to do this. Again, when you see doors on closets, typically they are centered within the space and according to the space. One way that I go about doing this is I draw a diagonal in the room. By drawing a diagonal temporarily, I can quickly determine where the midpoint is. If you don't have a midpoint showing, come down here to your O-snaps and make sure that your midpoint is checked. The midpoint, and I could go in the center too, but I find that sometimes in rooms it's not always the easiest to find that a center. So if you always do a diagonal from corner to corner, you can easily find the center that way. Alright, so these doors are 4 feet or 2 feet a piece. So that means I'm going to hover and extend up 2 feet and over, and then I can mirror that, select object, hit enter to be done. There we are. I don't need these lines anymore, and I don't need these lines anymore. Boom. Boom, y'all. Try it again. Right here. Find the midpoint. Extend it out. 4 feet. Oops, sorry, 2 feet, not 4 feet. Right here. Whoa, that one went crazy. Sometimes that happens. It likes to find its own snapping point. There we go. Don't need that one. Don't need this one. I do need this one so that I can mirror. My computer got a little slow there for a second. There we go, and trim it out. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this door. I'm temporarily going to come over here so that I can rotate it. And then I'm going to size it. So I'm going to click here. Oops, this one. So it's going to be a 2-foot door. And then I mirror it. And I mirror it according to this swing right here. And now what I can do is I can close this door and I can close this door so that it's partially open, because again, this is not an egress. Nobody's hanging out with the water heater and the furnace, right? I'm going to move, grab it by the hinge. It always goes to the swing side, right? Whatever side it swings out on, that is the side of the wall that it attaches to. And since these are the same size doors, I can just copy and paste it right there. Beautiful. And that is the doors, ladies and gentlemen. Before I move on to step 5, I am going to put in the 3 windows that are located down here at the bottom on my exterior wall. So this one is centered. So what's the best way to center on a wall? Well, if I had trimmed out my wall like I had meant to, there we go. It is easy to find it on this wall because this line, once trimmed to let the spiders roam, will show you where the midpoint is. So I'm going to just draw a quick line right here. This window is going to be 5 feet in length, so offset half of that distance is 2'6". Click here, click there. Here we go. And what I need to do is I do need to trim these out, and the reason why is because we want to really show when we go to print that the line weights are different between the wall and the window. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose a glaze, because glazing is the architectural term for windows or glass. Now I'm going to choose line. And this basically is what a window looks like in AutoCAD. This next one is a little bit more tricky because we have 2 windows that are centered here in the middle. I do have some dimensions on the floor plan that you can see. But if you really want to know how to center without dimensions, again, look at your line. It always will tell you where the midpoint is, so I always start there. On our plan, there is a 5-foot piece of window. So I'm going to offset 2'6" on both sides of this center line. And delete this one because I don't need that anymore. So this indicates the start of this window, and this indicates the start of this window. I'm going to offset 5 feet because that is the size of our windows. And I'm going to trim some lines out. Now what you'll notice I did is I actually drew these in a glaze, which is this, but it's kind of nice to have a wall right here because it indicates that there's a change happening, and this is a nice dark line. So it really is up to you as to which one that you want to show. I always do a wall. So here's a little trick. If I want to change this layer to this, I'm going to come up here to this little symbol. It has a stack of papers with a little paintbrush, and it's called Match Layer. So I'm going to highlight this first, and then I'm going to click Match Layer, and then it says Select Object on your destination layer. So select something that's in the layer that you want to change to. Just simply click on that layer, and you'll see that that updated. So again, highlight the object that you want to change the layer, Match Layer, click. Highlight, match, click. Highlight, match, click. Beautiful. Alright, I'm still working in the A glaze layer, so now I can come in here and I can install my glazing. Now I keep going up to the line, so maybe I want to move a little faster, so just hit space bar and it'll repeat the last command. It also ends the line command if you want it to. And there is the windows.